Again to the another tutorial in compose application development. And in this tutorial I'll be creating our first compose application. I will be summarizing each and every concept that we have learned till now, and I will be creating our first complete compose application, okay, from scratch. Okay, from so it will be like a boot camp for compose, for creating your first compose application. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's go and create this application. But before creating the application, I will just give you some overview how our application is gonna look like. So our application will be created using a Jetpack Compose, and we'll have actually three screens. First screen called screen insert row screens, which will consist of elements like titles, text field, button, where number can be inserted. So there is a second screen which is called insert column screen, which consists of titles, text field, where a number is all inserted, and a button when button clicked, and then the user navigates to the next screen. And finally we have the third screen, which is called grid screen, which displays a grid with the number of rows and number of columns inserted above, that you have inserted above in this row and column screen. uh, and each row will independently scroll over lazy rows, and for each column using lazy column. So each grid item will display the text called item with row and column of that. So it is pretty much like a matrix, right? So yeah, without wasting any time, we are gonna we're gonna follow these guidelines and create this application. So first we create the compose activity. Okay, I have created this subfolder called compose app. Okay, it's pretty simple. I just go and create my first compose activity. You can also use material 3, and you can just yeah, create this activity called compose matrix activity. And let me create this as a launcher activity. So, and I will be just yeah, building the creating this first activity from a template driven approach, right? So which will automatically generate all these files for me, all the theme files like colors, shape, theme, and type, right? So we will be each slowly implementing those and updating those structure for compose application. But I want to just check one is a manifest file. I just want to make sure my compose matrix activity is okay. I will just remove this intent filter from the another activity, because my like previous activity is no more the launcher activity. So this is my main launcher activity, right? Okay, so let me just run the application, and my application will be simply be displaying this Android, hello Android. Okay, yeah, hello Android. Okay, so we are good to go, and step by step we will be implementing this application. So what next? We have created the compose activity. Add a navigation library dependencies. So if you go to the Gradle, actually I have already added my compose navigation, you see, and it has also added the necessary libraries. Compose testing, compose libraries has already been added, and also now we add our navigation compose library. Okay, and okay, let's go. And the third step in the UI theme package, create a new Kotlin file called elements. So we will be creating all our reusable elements in this file called elements, right? Let me write reusable elements. Okay, so here we'll be creating all our reusable elements here. So okay, in the file, so in this elements file we have to create composable functions for titles used in application. We'll be also okay, let's do it step by step, just so that we will not get misplaced, right? So first it says create in the file, create composable functions for titles you use in the application. So let's create titles, usable functions. Like first we have titles, and obviously we're gonna create composable function title text text string color, obviously the color from the compose, and then what you have to create is a text and text style is a material theme, the typography of header 5, and we have a color which is a color, right? Okay, so this is our title text. Then we will also have to create another composable function for on the background title text. Also on this background title text we will be having this title text, text will be text, color will be color will be material theme colors dot on background. Okay, so yeah, we were able to, so this is the title text that we are reusing. And as I okay, so here we have to also implement our on background, so we will be doing that in a while, but let's create also, okay, let's go and do, we'll also have a, in the same file we'll also create composable functions for text field used in the application. So let's create titles, then text field, so composable function. So we will be having a body text field, okay, we will be having a value, okay, and then we will be having, yeah, many other parameters like on value change, obviously it's gonna take input as a string, and but it's gonna return nothing, keyboard options, and then text color, right, will be obviously a color. So so this body text field will be text field, and the value will be value, on value change will be on value change, then we'll have keyboard options will be keyboard options, then you will have colors will be text field default, and text field colors will be text text colors will be text color, right? Okay, you can also pretty much yeah, and what else, like we will still have to create a composable function for in the case of text color on background body text field, right? Function on background body text field, so we'll have a value of a string, we have one value change, and we'll have a keyboard options, and then we will be using our body text field with the value, with the value change, on value change, and then keyboard options, and then finally we have our text color is a material theme colors on background, right? Okay, so we are successfully able to also create our our text field, right? So what next is uh, for text field, so we also actually need also another thing, which is actually item text actually. Okay, so let's create also item text, composable function item text, and text is a string, then we have a color is a color, and text, okay, we'll have a text of text, then style will be material theme, typography body 1, and then we'll have a this is our style guys, but I'm missing here something. We have a style, we have a text, we have a style, and then we have finally we also have a color, which will be our color, right? So this is our item text. Then similarly we will also need to create background item text. Okay, why I'm creating on background item text, it's because we are going to use our theme for dark um, and light theme, right? So I will be demonstrating that. Why, if you are not so familiar with how to set up your theme, you can just go to my previous lecture and understand in detail, but here I will be also demonstrating in a while. Let me finish creating these elements. Okay, so it will be just containing text, string, and we have item text, text is a text, the color will be material theme dot colors on background, background item text, we have a item text. Okay, this will be taking the color from this on background. Okay, I will be also setting the value of on background soon. And finally what we also, let's go back and let's see, this grid items is actually these items, right? Item text, okay, grid item text. And then what else, like I also need to create, let me recheck my guidelines. We also need to get the buttons, right? So let's create the buttons. And buttons, composable function, we have a text button. So our text button will be text, then we'll have text button will be text color, it will be consisting of on click, it's also a lambda function returning unit, and also not taking any inputs, taking empty inputs. So we have a button, button is doing on click, and then having our text, text is the text that you pass, your style will be like material theme dot typography dot button. Okay, and colors, button defaults, button colors, content, then content color, and we have a text color, right? So this is it. Then we have a buttons. Obviously we need to also create another button for our on background, or we can see also primary text button, composable function, primary text button, and text string on click, we have a text button, Our text button consists of a text, then we have a text color is a color dot primary text button will have a text color of white, and obviously on click will be consisting of a on click, right? And that's it, guys. So we have all the necessary elements, reusable elements, okay, reusable compose elements, okay. So we are going to reuse this in our entire application, okay. And then let's go to our guidelines. What next? We have created all these composable functions elements, okay. Now create a file called insert row screen. So let's create a file called insert row screen. So this is another screen, compose screen that we're gonna create. So insert row screen. So now inside this insert row screen, create insert row screen state, insert row screen content, and insert row screen, which will be responsible for holding screen state and the screen content for managing the screen state. So insert row state, row state. So let's do one by one. Compose function insert row state screen state. Let's do it one by one. So our state will be it's actually this will be not a compose function but a simple data class, row screen state, and it will be consisting of a row count. Okay, let me make a default value of empty, and we have insert row screen state, insert row screen content, right? So let's create this is a composable function which is a insert row screen content. Obviously our content will be insert row screen state on item count change string, okay. Then unit on button click and okay. So what's we have to do is here on background title text, so it will be consisting of all these screens, right? Will be consisting of, as you can see here, insert row screen will be consist of title, text field, button where number will be inserted. So so here will be first the title, string resource, okay. Obviously we need to create the string resources, so value strings, okay. Obviously I need to create here some my first compose app. So all our string resource file will be just defined here. So whatever we need the strings we will define here. So we'll be needing all this string, right? So let me just paste these strings, item format for compose, first compose app. Okay, so here we're gonna get the what we're gonna do is we're gonna insert the number of rows, right? So insert number of rows, and then we need another is a body text field, Okay, the value will be insert row screen state dot row count. Then on value change will be you have a on item count change. The keyboard options will be keyboard options, keyboard type will be keyboard type number, and finally we also have a primary button, text button, which will be consisting of text is a string resource, a string not done, and what else, on click will be on button click, right? So I don't need this extra, so let me format the code. And then what next we have to do is we have to create a insert row screen finally. Okay, so let's finally create the insert row screen composable function, and we will be insert row screen, and on button click obviously it's gonna input the string. Okay, here we have a state by remember, and we have to remember a mutual state of insert row screen state. We have to import everything, and then insert row screen content. Then we'll have the first thing is a state, right? We'll be passing the state. On item count change will be a lambda, and here we have the state is equals to state dot copy. We copy the row count and pass the on item count change. It's gonna take the input as a string, right? So item count change will be this item count, and finally we will also have this on button click. So on button click we will be doing on button click and state dot row count. So now we successfully created our insert row screen and everything. So now we also need to create another file called insert column screen. So similarly, insert row screen and column screen. Actually the same thing will be repeated, so I will just copy and refactor and copy the file. Instead of row it will be a column, because the patterns are pretty similar, you know. And we just need to rename it. So instead of row it will be column screen state. So instead of row it will be column, and the same pattern will be following here. Insert not row, column screen content, and yeah, similarly it will be also column. It's like insert column screen state. So we will be having the value insert, it should be column count. So all the patterns are pretty similar. Insert not row screen but column screen finally, and insert column screen state, insert column screen content, column screen state, okay, column count, okay. So this is our second screen, which is pretty similar with our row screen. So as you can see here, insert column screen, we have insert column screen state, insert column screen content, insert columns screen. Okay. And okay, actually just it's s in the, but okay, we can just columns. Okay. And finally we have to create the grid screen. So let's create the grid screen. Grid screen. So in this grid screen, okay, it will be pretty different than the rest of them. So we'll have obviously the if you read here, we'll have a grid screen state, grid screen content, and grid screen. So data class, we have a grid screen state at beginning, and now screen state will be consisted of items, and the items will be a list of string, right? And empty list, so it will be in the format of a matrix, obviously. And what else, like we also have to create, as you can read here, we will have to create grid screen content and grid screen sim. Finally, composable function, grid screen content, grid screen content, and finally you have a screen state, you have a lazy column, okay, and you have items, grid screen state, items, and row items, item, and you have a column, which is the modifier dot padding vertical of 4 dp. Okay, and then we will have a lazy row, lazy row, items of a row item, the item, and we'll have a column modifier, padding of horizontal is 4 dp, and finally on background item text will be passing the item. So what is the idea? As you can see here, our grid screen will display a grid with the number of rows and number of columns inserted above. So each row will independently scroll using lazy row, and each column will be used lazy column. So each grid items will display the item of row and column, right? So this is our motivation, in the sense like this is our, we'll be having lazy column for displaying the columns, and lazy row for displaying the another column of lazy row items in a column format, right? And we'll be displaying finally this item. So, and what next is, finally we are gonna get the create the grid screen composable function, grid screen, so which will be consisting of a row count, and we'll having a column count, Okay, and we'll be having items mutable list of string. Okay, and we'll be having 1 to row count to int, and for each of this row count we have a row index, and then we items dot add 1 to column count to int, and to list, and then we have to map it to our column index, then we have to format to our string resource r.string.item. let's import this item format for first compose app, and then we have to format it to obviously we have to also pass our format arguments is array of row index and column index, right? So this is what we have, and finally we have our grid screen content, and it's a grid screen state items will be passing the item, right? So we are successfully also created our grid screen. And then what next? Okay, so if you see the guidelines, so we have successfully created all these 3 screens needed, right? Insert row screen, insert column screen, and finally the grid screen. So now finally in the activity we have to create a new function that will set up the navigation between our screens. So let's go and set up our navigation, and let's use this let's run this application, and let's call this application in the set content, and set content we will call our composable application. So let's go, and where is my compose matrix activity? So we have to now create here another function, compose function, my matrix app. So your matrix app will be obviously taking the input as a navigation controller. Then you have a row count by remember savable. So here your remember savable will be remembering your mutable state of and let's remember savable. Mutable state of, yeah, we have to pass the obviously the empty value, and okay, more actions. Let's row count. I'm not able to remember yeah, it's this one actually. We import it yeah, we don't have to input anything, we just need to, okay, so this is our correct import. And now we create our nav host with the, let's me import the nav host, okay, and we'll be containing nav controller is our nav host controller, and start destination will be our the start destination, which we will be creating in a while. So here our start destination will be first screen. Okay, let's create the composable route for each screen. So first screen is an insert row screen. Okay, so this is the first screen that we are gonna create, and similarly we will be also creating all these three screen. Okay, so composable. Okay, so screen one, screen first screen, that's our row screen. Second screen will be column screen, right? Insert column screen, insert column screen, insert row screen, right? As you remember, we created three screen, right? So the third is the final third screen will be your matrix or grid screen, right? So here let me just rename name it. Okay, this names works particular fine. Insert columns screen. Okay, this works properly fine. Then what we are gonna insert row screen, we're gonna call that, and we're gonna we gonna pass the lambda of row count to that screen, and then we also not gonna pass a nav controller. Whenever you click a button of that row screen, we're gonna navigate to insert columns, or you can just copy paste this route, okay, of the second screen. Similarly, we will also gonna call insert column screen. Obviously we're gonna pass on button click, we're gonna do it in lambda, pass it in a lambda, and when you click the button, you insert column screen, you have your nav controller, and you navigate to the another screen, and this is will be the grid screen. But we also need to pass the row and column value, right? So row count will be your value passed is row count, and also you need to pass the column count will be your the value that you have inserted. Okay, and yeah, this is how it is working. And now finally you have to create your route with this same name, but here instead of row count we will be having like, you know, in the curly braces, and similarly here also curly braces, but here the value will be column count. Okay, so this will be passed as an argument, and it will be also accessible as arguments. So after this we'll also have the arguments. So this is the route. Okay, so this is the route. So now we need to get the arguments. So the arguments will be our list of nav arguments, and row count we have of this will be of type obviously this will be of type string type. And then what next, we'll also have another nav argument which will be column count, and which will be of type nav type, obviously it's a string. So yeah, we have a list of as you can see here, we have a list of these arguments, right? And we have just these two items in the list. Okay, so it's pretty simple. And then finally we have to navigate to our grid screen which consists of row item as arguments. We get the row item from the arguments, and get string row count or empty. And similarly we have also column count, it arguments get string row count column count and or empty. Okay, so here as you can see, we have created this navigation host graph consisting of all these three routes, right? First screen, second screen, and the third screen, also similarly passing the arguments and creating all the routes, right? And yeah, this is a pretty simple navigation graph that we have created here. And finally we have to now pass in the nav control host controller. So we will have to create our nav host controller in our application. But we have to avoid this one, because we will not be calling this one. And my theme is this one. Okay, so I want to just modify my theme, and I have actually missed something very important, which will be actually to show you this screen, right? To show you guys this screen. And this is about our theme that we have implemented, and we forgot to implement on background color. So on background color will be, when it's a dark theme will be green, and when it will be on background color, when it will be light, will be let me put green. So so you can pretty much override any of this color of your desire. Okay, and so this is our application theme, Kotlin app theme. When it will just take the whatever theme the user has selected from the system, and then if it is dark theme selected, then it use the dark palette colors, all this one. While if it is a light color theme, then it's gonna select this light color palettes and apply the particular theme to the entire application. So this is how the theming works. If you want to know more of the theming and understanding in detail, you go and follow my previous lecture videos about theming in Compose. But we have applied our theme, we have applied our surface modifier with the color and background, everything. And then actually the most important thing is we have set the content. Okay, which is gonna set the content to our activity. And finally we have to implement our we have to instantiate and remember our nav controller. Host controller is our remember nav controller, and then this is gonna pretty much remember your navigation, get your navigation controller, and my matrix app, you pass your nav host controller, and we are good to go, right? So let's me run the application. And see if we are okay, but I don't think so. Let me see what's the problem here. Illegal argument access cannot have a empty start destination route compose matrix activity. Obviously, I have not specified the start destination, that is insert rows screen. Okay, so this is my mistake here. And yes, we have this insert number of rows. I want to have 5 rows, and done. Insert number of rows again. Why is it let me see guys. Yeah, because I have the same string, insert number of columns actually. So let me recreate the application again, rebuild it. Number of rows 5, done. Number of columns 5, done. Yeah, you have this items but not looking good, right? So let me change the theme. I think the green was not so fine with the color. Let me make it black. Black sounds good. Okay, insert number of rows. Let me just make it 9 this time. Number of columns 9. And finally, voila guys, so we have, you see, all the values, and we can just pretty much, you know, scroll it, right, in a lazy scrollable view. And yeah, this is pretty working fine. And what if I want to change it again, you know, like I want to make it much more good, like the 5 rows and 5 columns. Okay, so this looks pretty fine, right? 1 1 1 2 1 3 1 4 1 5 and 5 5, right? You know, this is looks like in a format of matrix. And yeah, this is my simple application, as you can see, that I have created in Compose, entirely in Compose, and it's pretty cool, right? So finally we have followed the guidelines and able to create the complete Compose application. And I hope you guys, it was really helpful for you guys. If you like it, and if you have any questions, please do comment. And if you like my videos and want to get more videos, you want me to make more videos, please do subscribe and press the bell icon button, so that you'll get notified with my any new releases of this kind of tutorial. And thank you very much. Catch you up later guys.